Tottenham will beat Luton tomorrow so easily that they'll go above Aston Villa into 4th place. I'm sure of it. This is my match preview on the Spurs On podcast, and I'll explain to you why. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get started with that reverse fixture at Kenilworth Road back towards the beginning of the season. What people remember most about that game was Yves Bissouma getting his second yellow card to be sent off towards the end of the first half. But what they don't really remember, and I've watched the match back, is how impressive Tottenham were in that game at winning the ball up high off the Luton defence. We pressed like madmen. Bissouma had a good game until he got sent off, and Sarr and Maddison was at the absolute top of his form, and we were just pressing so high and winning the ball up that we made chance after chance after chance in the first half. This was very much before Richarlison had hit his straps in terms of form in the Premier League, scoring goals for Tottenham, before he got that kind of 9 goals in 10 games run going. And he had a few chances in the first few minutes that he should have put away, and Spurs would have been home and hosed. But instead of that, we didn't get a breakthrough. We let actually Luton get a disallowed goal because of a push from Adebayo on Romero, a ball that then hit the post and was put in. And it actually became a huge scrap. And we didn't get our winner. The 1-0 win came from James Maddison, was given a short corner by Decky Kulusevski, and then Maddison did brilliantly down on the touchline, turned his marker, who I think was Doughty, and then got a little left foot poke cross, and Mickey van der Ven, the signing of the season, Mickey van der Ven got his left foot around it and put it home under the keeper. That's how we won 1-0 at Kenilworth Road. It was a difficult game, but Spurs really showed Luton, I think, the kind of difference in class between the Championship and the Premier League in terms of the pace and the ability in which we could win the ball up high. So I think at home tomorrow, especially if we can get an early goal, we could continually win the ball up high from them, force them to play it long, and then we'll have control of the game easily and make chance after chance. I'm confident. I know we're coming off the back of a difficult loss at Craven Cottage in a game that has kind of caused a corner of the Spurs fan base to go wild with their feelings that nothing has really improved. But I think tomorrow we'll put Luton to the sword pretty easily and go above Aston Villa into 4th place. That's my feeling, certainly in the long term anyway, depending on what Villa do in their game. So let's talk a little bit about why I think this win will come so easily. First of all, let's look at Luton's away results. Their previous few games, they lost 4-3 at Bournemouth, they drew 1-1 at Palace, decent result. They lost 4-1 at Liverpool, drew 4-4 at Newcastle. Newcastle are a Jekyll and Hyde side. You wouldn't expect Luton to go to St James's Park and get a 4-4 draw, but it shows just how many goals Luton are capable of conceding. They conceded 4 goals in 3 of their last 4 games. They drew 1-1 at Burnley before that, and their last win was 3-2 at Bramall Lane against Sheffield United 6 games ago away from home. They're 16th in the Premier League away form table. They've won only 2 on their travels, drawn 4 and lost 8. Meanwhile, Tottenham are 5th in the Premier League home table with a record of 1-10, drawn none, and lost 4. So for any gamblers amongst you, I would say do not put any money on the draw. It does not look very likely at all. We are overall 5th in the league, 3 points behind Villa, as I said, with a game in hand, won 16, drawn 5, lost 7. Let's face it, if anyone had been given that with 10 games to go back in the summer when Ange Postecoglou came in, never having managed in what's deemed to be a top-tier league before, with Harry Kane having gone for 100 million euros, probably more in terms of add-ons to Bayern Munich, and with a little bit of disarray around the club after what happened with Conte, and obviously I think the third time I think Ryan Mason had been put in caretaker charge. I think we'd all have happily snapped your hands off to being in 5th at this place with a game in hand over 4th in this place in time with 10 games to go. In terms of Luton's last Premier League game, they got a draw 1-1 at Forest. Not bad. They're really fighting with Forest actually for that 3rd kind of 4th bottom of the league spot. Forest have obviously just been deducted some points, so they're currently in the relegation zone. Luton just 1 place above. In terms of what Luton have to offer and bring to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium when it comes to putting pressure on us, making chances. First of all, Ross Barkley, absolutely key to everything they do offensively. He's the playmaker. He pulls the strings. They give it to him. Whenever they're getting the ball down on the floor, they give it to Ross Barkley. He'll either try and beat a man himself, play a through ball, or get it out wide. He's really found his way back to, he was an incredibly raw back when he was at Everton, but incredibly talented young player. Got his huge move to Chelsea, and it just didn't really work out there. As with a lot of players who move to Chelsea, they don't, unless they hit their straps straight away, they just don't get picked, especially if they're young English players. And the reality was he didn't push his way into that first team. He then went abroad briefly. Now he's come back to Luton and been incredibly impressed with the way he's played for Luton. He is exactly that kind of player who needs to be the main man at any club. I would put Richarlison in that bracket as well. Different kinds of players in terms of their style, but when they're the main man at their club, they take responsibility and they play their best football. So that's one thing with Luton. Everything goes through Barkley, as I said. The other impressive thing with them: set pieces, corners, deliveries. They're a big athletic team. They love to get the ball in the box. They did that against Spurs in the reverse fixture. It was frightening, frankly, because we're not the biggest team and we've not been good this season. I stress this in every match preview. We've not been good this season at defending first balls when it comes to corners and free kicks, and we've conceded goals, and we've looked like we're going to concede many more goals. So we've got to look out for giving them chances to get the ball in, not give away deep free kicks, not give away too many corners, because they will win first balls, and they're not afraid to put a deep corner in as well, get the first ball there, and then it comes into the box. So we need Vicario to be big and strong. We need Romero and whoever his centre-back partner is to be really big and strong, win those first balls. I was impressed with Dragoshin in the first half last week against Fulham, winning a lot of first balls at corners. So if Dragoshin is going to start tomorrow, and I'll talk about that a bit more later on in the episode, then he has to be as strong as he was in that first half, but for the full 90 minutes. The other thing that impresses me about Luton, they absolutely put their bodies on the line. They throw themselves in front of everything defensively. Blocks, challenges, getting back on the line behind their keeper if a chance is made. They're really good at that. They're, a proper kind of team, well bonded. They know they're in a fight for their lives in the Premier League this season, and they're really doing whatever they can to find their way into 17th place rather than in the bottom 3 positions in the league. In terms of what I think Tottenham can do to really get at them, they're definitely susceptible to movement out wide and teams getting to the byline and cutting balls back. And that is what Spurs and Ange Ball love to do. Get to the byline, get behind, and then get the ball across from one wide forward for the other to put in at the back post. So hopefully we can make lots of chances like that. It should really suit us. And also Luton have conceded in 9 Premier League games in a row. So you'd think there'll be chances, you'd think there'll be goals, but to be honest, I said before Craven Cottage last week, I thought Spurs would score. They were on that run of having scored in so many games in a row, and frankly, we were appalling. We should have scored, of course. There was that Timo Werner chance at the back post, but it kind of 50p'd off the side of his foot. Another reason why I think we'll win easily tomorrow is that Luton are in the middle of an absolute injury crisis. Here are the players that are currently doubtful: Mpenzu, Doughty, Ogbena, Anderson, Lokonga and Osho. And then in terms of the players who are all out, Nakamba, Brown, Lockyer, obviously. What a hero Tom Lockyer has been. Very, very impressed with the way he's dealt with his numerous setbacks, and hope that everything's going as well as it possibly can do for him. Johnson, Adebayo, Potts and Bell, they are all out. So it's a proper injury crisis for a club who, let's face it, in terms of the budgets, one of the lowest in the Premier League, not really able to have a strong squad depth-wise. So they will be struggling for sure, I think, tomorrow at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And as I mentioned towards the top, can we get an early goal? Can we put the pressure on them early? Can we get the fans behind us? If we can get 1 early, maybe 2 early, then it could be, 4 or 5 and an opportunity for us to really push up our goal difference, which of course we did so well at Villa Park, 4-0 there and taking 4 goals away from Villa, but then really didn't make the most of that at Fulham, and letting 3 goals in there was very disappointing. However, I will say, and this is being a Spurs fan and having been a Spurs fan for many, many years, that doesn't mean that tomorrow couldn't be a difficult game. If we allow Luton to start getting comfortable, if we allow their fans to really enjoy the day out, get behind them, and if we don't have the pace, the tempo, and the desire to really break them down and work hard, then the fans will get complacent. They will get a little bit, antsy, a bit of unrest maybe, and expectations will be high. So we've got to really work hard, put them to bed early, and make it an enjoyable game, because also we've got West Ham away Tuesday night, 2 games very close together. So if we can get a few goals, opportunity to rest some players with Tuesday night in mind, that will be very important. So in terms of the Tottenham team news, we've heard that Mickey van der Ven has been training again, but is it a risk too far to play him tomorrow when maybe Ange will be tempted to hold him back for the West Ham game? You definitely want him playing in that West Ham game at the London Stadium. Richarlison still struggling with a knee injury. Apparently he did go into the Brazil squad during the international break but didn't play any minutes there. So that'll be interesting. And of course Sonny played 2 games out in Asia during the break. So he won't have got back probably till yesterday at the earliest. Be interesting to see whether he'll start. So wouldn't surprise me at all if there were starts for Werner and Johnson, but in general I'd say Ange likes to kind of stick with what he knows. So my predicted team lineup is Vicario, Porro, Destiny Udogie. I think Dragusin will start instead of Van der Ven alongside Romero. I think Basuma, even though he didn't have a good game at Craven Cottage, will start again. I think we'll want a bit more creativity in there than Højbjerg could offer. I think Sarr will start, then Maddison, and then I'm going to say that he's going to stick with Brennan Johnson on the left, Sonny down in the number 9 while Richarlison's got a knee injury, and Deki Kulusevski on the right. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Tottenham Hotspur. Let me know in the comments what you think the score will be, whether my team prediction is wrong, and if so, what you think the team will be. And please do press that subscribe button, that like button. Go over to the podcast platforms, give me a follow or subscribe there, and vice versa. If you're listening on the podcast platforms, please do come to YouTube. It's youtube.com/@BarnabySlater_, and you can become a Spurred On Pro member or Patreon member. All the information in the description boxes below. Just £1 a month, and it really helps me make this daily content for you. Thank you so much, guys. Hope it goes well tomorrow. Come on, you Spurs.